Hi, I'm Dr. Safaya, email marketing strategist and educator, and I am committed to making email marketing simple and profitable for you through my online email marketing school, Safaya Learning Hall. You can find the link in the show notes. Fun fact, I'm an obstetrician gynecologist resident in training. Yes, I'm an actual practicing medical doctor. Email marketing experiments was born out of the desire to share behind the scenes of failed and successful email marketing campaigns. Simply put, what we've tried, not just me, but me and every guest I bring on the show, what we've tried that has worked or didn't work. So instead of just thinking it and testing it, we're committed to also sharing the BTS with you on this podcast. Come join us behind the scenes. And one more thing, as you listen, if you're a freelancer, service provider, or business owner, go ahead and check the show notes for the gift I kept for you. You'll find it under the title Gift. Now let's go behind the scenes. Hi, listeners. Welcome back to Email Marketing Experiments. Today, I have an interesting guest for you. He is a self-proclaimed marketing nerd. I mean, even in the introduction, you were like, oh, from another. I was like, okay, now that is interesting. And let me tell you, he has this post that made me stuck on it. He was talking about how he got, I think, 50,000 views in 14 days, something along those lines, and I had to click it. He runs a blog with over 500,000 views, if I am not mistaken, and he is also the head of content for a teach training platform. Now, I'm talking about no other person than Daines-Hutt. It's so good to have you. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Oh, I'm excited to have you. I mean, when I stumbled on that blog post, right, because I was just checking out your blog, I was like, 14 days.
I know.
It's not 1,000, it's not 2,000, it's not 3,000, it's 50,000 and just 14 days. I was hooked.
It actually ties into my email mistake that I can talk about later. But yeah, that article was like the thing that kicked it all off, basically.
Oh, now I smell some tea. I can't wait to get to that part. All right. So before we get right there, could you tell us a bit about your story, your background, how you got into email in the first place?
Yeah. So I'm from England originally. My accent is really weird because I've lived in lots of countries. I live in New Zealand, and I was about to be kicked out of the country because I was too old to apply for new visas. But I saw that you could get a visa if you're an entrepreneur. And so I literally set up a clothing company overnight to see what I could do. Woke up the next morning to sales and had to figure out how to print out these clothing and t-shirts and things. And then from that, I kind of fast tracked into all these different retail stores and doing marketing for that business online, which got me into email. But it was kind of like a baptism by fire, just trying to figure everything out. And I remember at the time thinking as well, because you think of email marketing and it's not the sexy thing, like the latest, newest thing. So you kind of not really think about it so much, but it's so high converting. When you finally get it to work, you're like, why haven't I been doing this the entire time? And then, and then I started writing about all the different things that I was doing, which is why that one article got 50,000 views in like 14 days, something like that. I started doing this for clients. And so now like you said in the introduction, I run my own blog at my content, which is where I do all these case studies and things and share guides. And then I'm the head of content for this technical training platform in Canada called Zero to Mastery. They have 500,000 members. So the traffic is actually higher than that. That's how many customers they have. So yeah, it's a pretty big platform.
Oh, wow. I mean, like you just changed dynamics for all of us because we're saying 500,000 members and you're like, oh, 500,000 customers. The traffic is, a little higher than that. I don't even want to imagine it, but I find it really interesting. Now, I mean, you told us about this little pet that you have, a house bunny, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to hear about, will I say how you acquired the house bunny or?
He's a rescue. So my wife found him at an industrial estate. Someone had let him go, we assume. I didn't want him, and he was just on a tiny patch of grass. And so she rescued him, and he lives with us now for about, I think he's been here about 11 years, and he's the cutest. Bunnies are like quiet dogs. They just sleep from in the morning, and then they wake up about 8 a.m. and they run around till about 10 a.m. and then they sleep till about 8 p.m. and then run around till 10 p.m. So you only get about 4 hours a day where they are running around, and the rest they're just kind of lying by your feet and things like that. But you do have to watch because they chew through cables. So everything has to be kind of like elevated up off the floor. The amount of iPhone cables that I've gone through is insane, and they're so expensive. The first thing I do every day when I unplug my phone is I hook it onto this plant so that the bunny can't get it, because now it's like it's ingrained in me that he's going to get it every day.
Oh, wow. I mean, 11 years, that's almost as long as you've been doing marketing. You've been doing marketing for like 12
pretty
years.
much. Yeah,
That's
pretty much.
interesting.
We call him a street bun because he was living on the streets for a little while, so he's super tough. But honestly, he's the cutest little thing. He'll be scratching. I've locked him out right now, so he'll probably scratch at the door at some point to come in here.
I mean, in cartoons and all, we see bunnies eating just carrots, so I wouldn't have imagined that they could chew through cables.
Bananas is the thing that they love more than anything else. So you can't eat one because he will literally climb up on top of me and be on my shoulder trying to get at the banana. I can only have a little bit at a time and try and eat it when he's asleep. I'm like one of these new moms who's like eating chocolate in the cupboard so that the kids can't see. I'm like that with a banana. If I'm making a smoothie, I've got to hide it away from him so he doesn't. And he'll oink. He'll run in and go. Oink, oink, oink. Yeah.
That's such an interesting one. All right, so let's circle back to marketing. I mean, I feel like I've learned something new. So let's circle back to marketing. Now, you've been doing marketing for, 12 years and you've also done email for part of that time. And we are going to do what we call open rates confession, which is where you tell us your biggest, worst, craziest email marketing mistake. Something that made you want to run and hide or question yourself as a marketer, maybe.
There's been a few in 12 years. There's definitely been a few, sending the wrong links and things like that, or forgetting the link. But like I teased earlier, that article that got 50,000 views. So at the time, I was a really small blog. I'd only written 3 articles maybe, and this was the 4th one. It was a case study. And I shared it with someone who is a big moderator on a forum called inbound.org. It's not around anymore, but it's a big content marketing forum where it's all content marketers and they kind of share resources with each other to look at things. That went like crazy, like super popular overnight. So I woke up and we'd already had like 10,000 visitors to a blog that was only getting like 4 visits a day at the time because it was super new. And my biggest mistake is I didn't have any email capture on that article. So actually, no, it had 50,000 views, probably about 30,000 views in the first day and about 50 over the 2 weeks. So I started to freak out because I finally got all this traffic to my business and I had no way to do anything with it. So I created a bonus that went along with the article because that's the only reason people were coming was to that one article. And so, I created like an asset, like a downloadable asset to go with it. And then I started to get, I got like 2,000-3,000 subscribers at the time, I think, because the traffic had died off at that point. But I wish I had that in place before this article went live. That's the amount of like emails to change your business, But I still kick myself about that today. And that was 10 years ago.
Oh, wow. Now that you shared, I feel that because that's at least you would have had like 10K people.
Oh, easily. Yeah, easily. And I kick myself still to this day. I'll be drinking a coffee and just thinking about it. I'm like, damn it.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. So if you were to give email marketing a job description today, based on how it is that you have used it over time, what role would you say email marketing plays in your business?
Scalability. So the ability to just write one email and it go to 50,000, 100,000 people in 10 minutes, of writing something is insane. Like you can do that with adverts and things like that, but the budget you would have to have will be absolutely huge. But the fact that you can have just one message go out to all these people is so helpful. I used to work in retail years ago, And I would have the same conversations every single day. Someone would come in, they would want a product for the same kind of reasons. And so you were constantly repeating yourself and having like the same conversation. So now being able to set up like an automation that does that for you, and it goes out to thousands and thousands of people every year. I love it because you can just watch Netflix and just relax. So yeah, definitely scalability and convenience and sales, of course, but
Very good one, very good one. So now let's dive into this thing that you've been trying out that is getting you insane opt-ins. I mean, everybody wants to grow their list. And sure, when I have people subscribe, I usually do like this form that tells is like, what can we help you with? And you will always see, oh, I want to grow my list. I want to get more subscribers. And this thing you have tried out is getting you insane opt-ins. So tell us about this, HSO that you have created and, how it came about.
So HSO, it stands for hyper specific offer, because I came up with the name without really thinking about it. And then I didn't come up with anything cooler since. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm stuck with this now. It actually came about because of that article where I got the 50,000 views and then I made the bonus for it. I think at the time it was getting like a 12% opt-in rate, which is huge because 2% is the average. And I didn't really think about it because I wasn't doing email at that time. And so people were asking me, and I was like, yeah, it's like, doesn't everyone get like these kind of opt-in rates? And so over time, I started to think about why that happened. And I kept replicating it. Every time I wrote a new article, I would create a bonus for that article. And that's where the hyper specific comes from, because it's a lead magnet that's just for that piece of content. The thing is, it's designed to be the next logical step that someone wants to take once they finish reading. So say you wanted to lose weight and you were reading this fitness guide, and it's talking about, like calorie counting and all these different things. And it says for men over 40, doing deadlifts and squats in these workouts is going to be the best thing. And you didn't realize that. And it's more calories lost than running and stuff. If you've never really worked out, you'd be like, oh, I should definitely work out. Oh, I'm not sure what exercises to do. And then you go somewhere else and you start to Google those things. But because you gave the bonus of like a little workout plan or something like that at the end, and it's the next step that people want to take, the opt-in rates are through the roof. So my lowest converting one is about 15%. And the highest one, because it's super niche, is 83%. So 83 out of 100 readers become a subscriber to like this particular blog post.
Now, wow.
In fairness, no one else is opting into these. It's always the readers that come across, right? So it is kind of limited to how much traffic each article gets, but it means that you're maximizing whatever traffic you're getting. If Google traffic is going down or anything like that, you're still seeing these massive returns for very little effort, just kind of making very unique bonuses. But yeah, it all ties back to that article, because I realized, oh, okay, this is so many people are opting in because it's just the thing that they want at that point in time. You think of other lead magnets or opt-in offers, they pop up on the screen and they're not always relevant to what the audience is like thinking about or doing or looking. And yeah, just by giving them, it's like the next episode in a Netflix show. You've just consumed this thing and now you want the next episode. So if I give you that, the conversion rate and the click-through rate is going to be absolutely huge. And I just kind of stumbled into it, to be totally honest with you. And it's absolutely changed my business. I was helping one friend with this who's got like a pretty big copywriting blog. And he was stuck at about 3,000 subscribers. And he's getting traffic and he's writing blog posts and guest posts and things. And he's like, I can't get past this point because the amount of people coming in is kind of similar to the amount of people churning. And so for about 9 months, he was stuck at this point where he's like 3,000 subscribers. So I told him about this and he started implementing it. And he hit 10,000 subscribers 2 months later, all from the same traffic he was getting organically every month. It's just that all of these content assets that he made are now converting. And so that's one of the main tips that I say for people to try this out. You don't even need to write anything new. Find the content that already gets traffic and add these bonuses to it and then see how well it works.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I have a ton of questions for you because I'm just thinking about it. So first of all, for context, right, how often are you releasing blog posts? I mean, I know you're a content person, but on the average.
For my personal blog, I don't actually write enough kind of thing, because I only like to release guides on there and tutorials and case studies and things. So I probably only release one on there every 2 months. But at the same time, because of how well it converts, and like with client fees and things like that, I only did about 6 articles and I made about $100,000 just because of the high conversion rate on the front end into emails, into people that want to be clients. If I was putting out more content, it'd be like a 7-figure, 8-figure business. I do a lot of client work, and I'm going to be totally honest, I'm kind of lazy. The idea of like a huge business like that is great, apart from I'm like, okay, well, I don't want less free time. I don't want more money to hire than 50 staff. I'm happy where I am. So I only write that much for me. And then for my clients, I'm writing every day. But yeah.
Okay. Now, so we're saying that somebody is writing maybe, okay, let's say maybe the person is not writing one blog every 2 months. The person is writing a blog a month. And just by plugging an hyper-specific offer, the person can be growing their email list fast with minimal effort. Now, this blog post, wow, this blog post that we're writing, are they doing any other thing? That's okay. So do you also like maybe plug in an offer, or you just have that pop up on the blog post for the next logical step?
Yeah. So I have a guide on how to do this. We said like we'll put in the show notes, and you can see it in action. Basically, I'll put in the lead magnet offer, and you can click on it, and then it's a pop-up. It's an exit intent as well. But that's it, really. I don't make any other offers other than the hyper-specific offer. And because of that, I think that also helps the conversion rate, because you're not asking them to do multiple things. Like there were studies years ago with jam, where they were asking people if they wanted to buy jam, and if they had like 2 options, the conversion rate was really high. But when they started to have like 6 and 12 options, people couldn't decide which thing to do. And so the conversion rate went down, and they actually lost sales. So I try to be really particular about only having the one thing on a page. Like, what is the goal of this page? It's to rank for this topic and to get people who read it to become an email subscriber. And that's it. I don't make any offers or anything like that. There's no sales pages or link to from there.
Okay. I'm really curious, right? So before we go into how you really plan this hyper-specific offer, so someone signs up, the person gets into email, right? So when they get into email, what's happening to them that's leading to sale?
I do a similar thing to you. So nurture, basically, and just try and get them, educate them more towards the offer. I'm a big believer in, it doesn't have to be a pushy sale. If you can help them get to that point where they go, aha, that's exactly the thing I want, then they're going to buy from you a lot easier. So I actually have I built an AI prompt for this. So, because email sequences are hard work, right? Like if you're going to write one again and again and again, it takes a little bit of effort. So I realized with the hyper-specific offer, the more specific the thing is to the piece of content they're going to opt in. And then I realized the more specific the emails are to the reason they opted in, the more likely they are to buy. And so I plug in a sales page, and I plug in the article and why they opted in. And then it does like a 5 email sequence where it looks at like why they wanted to join, towards pleasure, away from pain, fear of missing out, all these different psychological principles that different people respond to. And it just helps me write an email sequence from there. And then that leads them to an offer. And that's basically all I do. I'll create like a very specific email sequence for each one of these bonuses. So it is more effort upfront, but the conversion rate is way higher on the front end. I don't need 10 times the traffic to get the leads, and I don't need 10 times the leads to get the sale, because it feels like the message is talking to you directly instead of just like a generic sequence. Yeah. And it means that I can be lazy then, more effort upfront. I always equate it kind of like to farming. I've put all this effort in to plant all these seeds, but now I just got to let it rain. I've got to let it have time to do that. I don't have to do something every single day for it to succeed.
I mean, I know you've emphasized on the fact that you're lazy, but I'm just thinking about it. Hyper-specific offer. If you have 6 hyper-specific offers, that's 6 email sequences. And yes, AI is helping you, but you still need to plug in the questions and fine-tune and set it up.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound very lazy to me.
That's the thing. It's kind of like I do all the hard work in the first couple of weeks, and then the rest of the time I just leave it to that. So for example, like recently I released an article, and I think it's got like a 22% opt-in rate, and only a few people have read it because I've not even promoted the thing. And then I think it got 7 email subscribers and then 2 sales. So like it's nothing huge, but the conversion rate on that to get a 20% opt-in rate from like however many people it was, and then a 7% conversion rate to sale from like a cold audience is fantastic. So as it scales out, I found that the numbers pretty much stay the same, as I get more traffic to it, because it's always the right audience with the right offer, with the right sequence. So I'm happy to put that effort in on the front end. But again, like I say, with a lot of this kind of stuff, try it out, like 2 or 3 posts first, and don't change your entire business overnight, just see how it works and then go from there.
So I'm just wondering, right? Do you repurpose some of these hyper-specific offers? Like, let's say you do another blog post, a different topic, but you think like an offer can work. Do you plug it in again? Or it has to be like one new one every time?
It's 1 for 1 every time. The main reason it works is you've just read this thing and you're really excited about the topic. So having a bonus that's related to that topic is the reason they want to opt in. So I actually tried this before. I had one that was converting at about 25%. And then I reused it on a different article because it was kind of relevant, but not really the thing they wanted. And the conversion rate dropped to about 4%. Just because you're reading it and it's like, oh, it's kind of like a handbrake turn where you're like, oh, okay, well, I guess I want that thing, but not quite. So the more specific it is, the more it's the next logical step to take, the higher the opt-in rate. The beauty of that, though, is the bonus doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't need to be like a video series or something like that. It can literally be a checklist that helps them do the thing they just read about, or it can be a PDF or a screen capture video of how to set something up. The quality and like the volume and stuff like that on the offer really doesn't matter that much, because the audience only really cares about, does it help them do the thing that they want to do? And so, it doesn't have to be massive at all. Like a single A4 page or something like that is absolutely fine.
Okay. I love that you've done a lot of experimenting with it, right? Because for everything I'm asking, you're saying, oh, and I tried this and this was what happened. And, I really love that. Now, I'm just wondering, right? Well, you mentioned that for your clients, right, from their assets, because you said content assets, right? They can get this. So I'm wondering, is it just limited to blog posts, or do you mean that, okay, they can do the same strategy, but with other content pieces?
I think it could work for different channels. The reason I like to use it for content is just because I'm a content marketer by trade. And I found it to be the best solution when traffic is going down and things like that you would have this opt-in offer. But there's no reason, like I've tried it with YouTube as well. Well, I'll do a YouTube video and I'll talk about something. And then in the video, I'll also give them an offer to take. And that offer will help them with something that they saw in the video. And that gets about 10, 12% conversion rate on the ones that I tried it on. And I'm pretty sure you could do it with Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that if you had a...
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I know you're enjoying the conversation, but I won't want you to miss out on this special promotion between May 18th and May 24th. Did you know that everyone who joins the Client Acquisition Challenge, I'm talking about the 6 weeks challenge that helps you land your first or your next client. We've brought 30 guests from around the world to come and share one strategy that works for them every single time, so that you can build your consistent client system that helps you land your first or your next client in 30 days. Because landing a client is getting paid, and that means food on the table, family supported, school fees, bills paid, and much more. And here's the best part. Everyone, and I'm talking about you, if you get the Client Acquisition Challenge between May 18th and May 24th, when registration ends, we're giving you free access to our best-selling email marketing course. I'm talking about the email marketing briefcase that helps you master email copywriting and marketing so that you can get paid to offer it as a service. I'm talking about the email marketing briefcase, your A to Z roadmap to master email copywriting and marketing. A 1-year access to the course is $100,000/$100, but you get it free when you join the Client Acquisition Challenge. I can't wait to see you inside. So go ahead and go to www.sapphirelearninghub.com/6 weeks CAC. That is number 6 WEEKS CAC. And to make it easier, you can just go ahead and DM me on Instagram, get paid, and I'll go ahead and link you up with a special offer. The link to my social media handle is in the show notes. I can't wait to see you inside.
Video where you're showing how to do something, and then you have the thing, they click across and they would want it. So like, say you're doing a cooking show and you're showing how you like to make this particular recipe. And at the end, you're like, here's a checklist of the things to buy. Someone might opt in, possibly not so much with that because they're so accustomed to having all of that stuff on the page. You'd be a little bit annoyed. But if it was like a workout guide and you're like, I've told you about all these different exercises, and here's like a 3-minute video of the exercises to do for the next 5 days, and I'll show you the perfect form so that you don't injure yourself and what to do and something like that. So I've talked to you all about health, and now I'm going to give you like the exercises that you can do for a week to try this out. Then the opt-in rate would be huge, and you could do that on any channel really.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that you could have anything as a lead magnet. It could be a one-pager, it could be a checklist, whatever it is. Are there lead magnets that you have seen that have worked better for you than others?
Honestly, it all comes down to like, is it the thing that they want? Kind of putting yourself into like their headspace of what they want, and then just giving the best option from there. So I've done ones before where it was literally a series of videos, and the opt-in rate wasn't any different to when I offered them a checklist. I think it's a lot of value up front. So people who do see it are like, wow, this person is really helping me get to this thing. And that probably helped with sales because a lot of people come through and they just immediately buy because you've given them so much value. But honestly, like one-page PDFs and checklists and things like that. Like, so without getting too meta, like I said, I've got a guide on this topic. And in that guide, I'm talking about the hyper-specific offer and how it works, and I show you. But I'm always like, the biggest issue, right, is like, well, how do I figure out what offer to give them? So I also have an AI prompt for that. And so like you plug in the article, and that prompt will be like, based on what you've showed me, I think I'm going to give you 4 options and you can choose. Because in that way, you can use the human element to pick the best one for you, right? And it'll be like, okay, well, why not a PDF for this or a video for this or something like that? And it makes it much easier. So in that example, all I'm doing is sending them an email with literally like an AI prompt that they copy and paste into ChatGPT or Claude or whatever. So that takes effort to set up. And it took me a while to like get the prompt working where I get the answers that I want all the time. But the actual thing is like, it's like half a page. So the bonus itself doesn't have to be that huge. I have found that kind of like AI focused stuff really converted well in the last 6 months. But honestly, I don't think people care too much about that anymore. It's just what's the easiest next step that helps me do the thing I want to do with the least amount of effort. And so that's why I kind of like give those prompts, just because then you're like, oh yeah, I really want to do this. But how much effort is it going to take? So if I can start stripping that resistance away as well and be like, hey, look, I've got a video of me showing you how quick it is to use. They're like, oh yeah, I'll try that. I can literally try that out in the next 2 minutes, So those work really well. But honestly, shorter is almost always better because of the resistance of, hey, I've given you 10 videos. They're like, I don't want to watch 10 videos. Even if I really want this thing, I don't like, I'll watch it later. And you look, the people opt in and then they never click play. And so you're just like, oh, okay, well, that was a lot of effort.
Actually, I mean, I like that you already told us how to get into their heads, and then you made it easy for us by giving us an AI prompt. So for our listeners, I'm going to go ahead and link that out for you in the show notes so that one click. I mean, he said least amount of work, least amount of effort, help you get to the next step. So right. I'm literally going to help you get to the next step. The link will be in the show notes. One click, you're over, you see the prompt, you implement it, and you're good to go. Now, I feel like this one is the big elephant in the room because, people listening to this is like, okay, but you're the content person. I'm not the content person, right? So what if I want to start up a blog to be able to get that traffic so that I can now implement the hyper-specific offer because it looks like something easy and sustainable that can help me to grow my list, right? So I just plug it and it's doing the work in the behind at the background. and I can be focusing on other things, right? What advice will you give them? Because I mean, you've talked about ranking, you've mentioned your head of content, and these people may just be business owners or service providers who are doing like a ton of other things, but still want to be able to grow their list. And, they may not have that skill set.
So I teach people writing and things as well. I run like a cohort of people, and I was talking to someone yesterday who is, do you know Dungeons and Dragons? It's like a tabletop game where you have a book and you go through a story and people pretend to be elves and wizards and all kinds of things like this. And that's his entire business. Like he has that kind of thing, platform, and he teaches these people. Honestly, the content is just the conversations that you have with customers all the time. That's all it really has to be. Like it'll improve, but when people try to be writers, they get in their own heads and they try and write something perfect from start to finish, and then they can't get past the introduction or they can't get past the headline and things. For me, I say the easiest way to do it is think of a topic like a conversation you always have with a customer before they make the sale. But like, oh, I wonder what this, or is this the right thing for me, or something like that. And then write down all the same things that you say to them, the conversations, the steps, the problems, including the things that that they might not even ask for. And that's basically the body. It's like the 80% of the article in the middle, which is the common things. And then once you've written that, it's so much easier to write an introduction to be like, hey, did you want to learn to surf, but you're not sure which wetsuit is the best for your options or which is the best surfboard for you? Well, I've been teaching people for 25 years. These are my top tips if you're an absolute beginner. And then it's so much easier to write the introduction after the fact and then write a piece of content. And the content is just talking. It should just sound like you talking to a friend like we are now over coffee. And when you put yourself in the headspace of like the customers you talk to all the time, it sounds natural. And that's the problem, I think, with using AI for content. It can help get a structure, but it doesn't read correctly. So if you write out the body like this and then throw it into AI and ask it to help you flesh it out, you're going to get something that's like 90% done. And then just read through it and just be like, I wouldn't say that, and just change it to your tone of voice, almost like you're reading it out loud, and just read through and just tweak and tweak and tweak and tweak. And by the end of it, you've got something that is your voice and tone based off the things that you want to say, because you haven't just given it like the prompt of write a guide on surfing. And then that way it's got all these expertise and insights in there that the AI doesn't have because it's your experience. And then that way you've got an article done in like an hour. You can get a first draft done so fast when you do it like this, because you just brain dump it all onto a Google Doc and then go from there. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Like,
Oh, yes.
I've been teaching people to write for a long time. So you kind of, sometimes you forget some of the things that because you've done it so often. But honestly, it gets so much easier once you do that, and then try and not make it perfect. Just try and make it a conversation and you'll be fine.
I mean, it's that line for me, because now I'm thinking of all the recorded conversations I've had with people, just talking, just this, and it's like, oh, that means each one of them can just become a blog post.
Exactly. Like there's a bit of SEO where you can look for like the keyword that matches the question they're asking and things like that. But honestly, it's easy. You throw it into a tool and then have a look and, find the best option for you. But a lot of the time, it doesn't even matter anyway. I say this to my customers. If Google died tomorrow, I would still write content, because content is just all the conversations I always have, but without me being there to say it again and again and again in person, So a lot of the times in my email list when I'm nurturing, I'm just sending them to articles that cover the same things that I know they're going to ask at some point in the future before they become a customer. So it's like, oh, here's all the different things I know about this, and here's one of the main problems that people get, and here's one of the biggest issues that you can fix, and here's how to grow your list, and here's how to increase open rate or conversion rate or whatever it is. And I just send them to those assets. And yeah, it's all the conversations you have all the time. And it just saves you having to back and forth with people, like client calls and stuff. Because by the time they come to you and want to work with you, they're like, oh, wow, this person really knows their stuff,
Definitely. Now, before we go into our rapid fire, I mean, it's not every day we have the head of content here. You have graciously given us a, flow for writing. And I would like you to do one more thing for us, because you've talked about ranking and keywords and SEO, right? I have explored blogging a bit. It's not in my skill set. It was something I was trying to learn, right? because I see a lot of people do it and it seems to have really great results. And for what you said today, I mean, it will help me grow my list with minimal effort. So I'm game. So my question is this: when it comes to the ranking and the SEO part, is there any tip, tool, recommendation that you have to make it easier for our listeners?
Yes. Everyone is excited to go for the big volume keywords, the ones that are getting 10,000 searches a month. But every keyword has a difficulty score based on how many people are trying to rank for it, how many websites, and how powerful those websites are. So that score goes from 0 to 100. And if you're trying to rank for a keyword that is a high score, like 70, 80, 90, it's not going to happen. Or if it does happen and you're really good and you build links and stuff, it's going to take like 14 months before you ever see any traffic from that. Whereas if you look for like an alternative keyword that is maybe difficulty 5, 10, 20, you might rank for that by tomorrow. So you're much better off looking at these smaller, long tail keywords that are less competitive and targeting those rather than going for something that's super, super complex, just because you won't see any benefit from it from like a Google point of view for a year. And that's assuming that you're link building and all this other stuff. Yeah, you do one of these easy ones, it only takes 1 or 2 links, and suddenly, you're getting 10%, 20%, 30% of the traffic that searches for that term every month.
That sounds really interesting. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I always tell people, start off with those easy ones first, so you get traffic now and sales, and if you've got the hyper-specific offers in there, you're going to start getting leads. And then as that starts to rank, you're going to get even more leads. And as you build your business, start to go for those more difficult keywords afterwards. But start off with these easy wins first, and go from there. There's actually different article topics as well that do really well. Comparison guides, case studies, kind of like list posts. Those kind of things are always things that people are looking for just before they're ready to buy. So they're really low competition and really high sales intent. So now, like an article like ConvertKit versus MailerLite, those people are just about to buy one of those pieces of content tools, right? And it'll probably get like 4,000 searches a month, but the difficulty will be like a 5. So you could literally write something about that, link to it from podcast episodes, and then rank for it almost immediately. And then you'll get customers who want MailerLite will click through to that, and people who want ConvertKit will also click through your link to that, and then you'll get affiliate sales for both. This is the crazy thing. It's pretty much only affiliate marketers do this, whereas you can do it for your business. Say you are MailerLite. Why don't you have that article? Such an easy win for your brand. And so writing those early on as well is a really, really easy win.
I mean, you just sparked my head with ideas. This has been such a powerful conversation. And again, I know we're about to go into the rapid fire, but something just popped up. I remember that you said that you have a pop-up form and an exit intent. Is there any particular reason why it is pop-up and then maybe not an embed form, like at the end of the article?
Yes. So like I said, I'm a big nerd. The studies have been done where if you've got an embed form and people can see the form to fill out, they are 10% less likely to fill it out for every box that they have to fill in. So if I give you a bonus and it's the exact thing that you want, hey, here's how HSOs work, here's an AI prompt to get it to work, fill out your email here. If you can see the box, there's some kind of resistance because we just don't want to do the thing, right? So what I use instead is a clickable image. So they click on it and then the opt-in form appears. They are something like 20, 30% more likely to follow through because we like to finish what we've started. And so we'll actually get through and fill out the form. Whereas if they could see the form immediately, there's that resistance. So even though they want the thing, they just won't opt into it. There was a study, actually, it's called Investor Carrot, and it's like a blog about investing. And their opt-in form was like 17 boxes. And the opt-in rate obviously is super low. So they changed it to just one opt-in at the start, like for just your email. And then after that, they asked for the 16 other things. Something like 45% of people would carry on and fill out the rest of it, whereas before they weren't filling it out at all. And so just that small change made like such a big difference to their email list growth. It was like a 30% growth change overnight. with that, like just changing those small things. So that's why I have that like that. The only issue is you've got to kind of be semi good at design, because if you make it too good, it looks like it's a part of the blog post and not something that's clickable. And then people kind of like, they're blind to it. So you got to kind of like put arrows on it and everything and make it look like something to click on, which I found out the hard way because I improved the design. And honestly, like the worse the design is, sometimes the better. If it's a kind of like a faded yellow box, it looks like a coupon that you would cut out of a newspaper, that converts like crazy. I feel it in my heart that I don't want the design, but at the same time, the opt-in rate on those kind of things is like so high. Yeah. If it wasn't my own blog and I was telling a client to do it, the advice I'd be is to test that out, the worst design. But because it's my own blog, I'm a little bit picky and I'm like, no, the design's got to look cool and professional and everything else. But yeah, anyway, don't show the form immediately on the page.
Love it. Love it. So now let's go into the rapid fire. So we're just going to be asking you questions to get your own point of view and experience. This one is the first one for you because you're a content person. So long emails versus short emails.
It depends. The email should always be exactly what they need to hear, right? And sometimes this is about to close in 2 hours. You already know all the information, get it here. But at the same time, if it's the start of a sequence, they need a lot more information. And so just giving them the exact things that they need. So if in doubt, send an email, never don't send anything, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be whatever they need to hear.
Okay. Now, between buttons or hyperlinks?
It really does depend. Like you've got to test it. Buttons definitely stand out and make it a lot easier for people to see that it's something they can click on. Like the amount of times I've had text that's just bold and people think it's a hyperlink and then they try and click on it. Like if you put tracking software on your website so you can see what people are doing, it's insane how many times people will click on a piece of bold text. Normally I just hyperlink myself, but again, that's just because I'm lazy. If I put a button in, it probably would work so much better.
Interesting. So what's your favorite email marketing metric to track?
Ooh, let's see. Probably click-through rate, because you're going to get opens no matter what, but are they doing the thing that you want them to do once they get on the email? Because that's the metric that matters the most, right? Yes, it's super important for the opens. If your email's so bad that they don't even read the thing, that's going to suck. But if you've got a good nurture campaign, they're always going to pretty much open it. But are they going to take the action? And I always want them to take the action if possible. And then I optimize it for that and keep testing and tweaking.
Okay. Now, what is one email marketing myth that you want to bust? Something that people believe that you totally disagree on?
Kind of like I said at the start, email's not sexy, right? Because it's been around for so long and we experience it every day. And so people assume that email isn't as effective as it is, when in reality, you could be making like $2 to $4 for every person on your list. And if you've got a good sequence, like $25, $30, $100 for every person on your list, it's the most effective sales or marketing channel that you can have. But people just, for the longest time, sleep on it. I'm guilty of it myself, You kind of just have everything running in the background. And then you send an email just because an idea came in and you make 30 sales. And you're like, oh, why am I not emailing people every day? You just, instead of playing around with meta ads or doing this or doing that or trying to learn YouTube, like, why are you just not emailing them all the time? It's crazy.
Crazy. All right. So now I know you've talked a bit about this throughout this conversation, but we're going to be linking to the blog article that talks about the highly specific offer so that you can just see that step by step and also get the AI prompts, right? What are the top 1 to 2 things that people will get from this particular blog post, or what should they expect aside the AI prompts that we have added into it?
So the guide itself talks about how this works in more detail because, like I said earlier, it's kind of the problem when you've been doing this stuff for a while and you have a conversation about it. Sometimes you just forget things, right? So the article actually goes probably into more detail and covers things that I forgot to say here. The AI prompt will help you look at a piece of content you already have and come up with an idea for that. there is an email sequence afterwards, and I do sell like a mini course, like a $20 course on how to do this with all the videos and things for people who need to do that. Honestly, I try and give away as much of it as I can in the article as well. So if you know email marketing already, you could pretty much get up and running on this straight away. But there is an offer afterwards for the course if people, if you want more help with it. But that's it. And then once you're on my list, I just basically share tutorials and guides and case studies of different things that I'm testing out. A lot of my audience are solopreneurs. They work just themselves, or they're small teams. Like, even I'm the head of content of this company with all these customers. It's still small teams. So it's always stuff like I'm testing to get the maximum amount of results for the least amount of effort. So if you want guides on all the stuff that I'm doing there, sometimes I can't share the exact numbers, but I can show you like this was a 50% lift by doing this one thing. I'll have guides and video tutorials about that stuff as well.
Tell us, how can our listeners find you and connect with you?
So ampmycontent.com is the easiest place to find me. And then check out any of the blog posts on there. I think the last one, it was literally this hyper-specific offer one. There's a picture of a guy with like a big purple wig on. I don't know why I picked that image, but that's the one. So if you want to check out that guide there, it's like the first one on the list. And then I'm not really on social media because I just kind of like to be chilling out on my own, So it's just pictures of cats and rabbits and things like that if you find me on there. But people always want to know my Facebook and stuff. And I'm like, it's not that exciting, I'm like 45 now.
All the links, guys, all the links are going to be in the show notes. So you can see that purple picture thingy that he's talking about, which I think is hyper specific because now you know what to look out for, and
Right.
every other thing right there. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope it helps.
It definitely will. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hi, Dr. Safaya here. Thank you so much for listening to yet another episode of Email Marketing Experiments. I'm going to ask a favor. Please leave a rating and a comment on this podcast. It goes a long way to help increase visibility for our podcast so that we can reach even more people. Till next time, this is still Email Marketing Experiments. Think it, test it, and share it.